everyone, this is Steve Weintraub here at the Cinema Center in Toronto at the Film Festival. I want to give a huge thank you to Range Rover Sport for being our sponsor. Them partnering with us allows us to support cinema here, and I just want to give a huge thank you to them. And now, the fine folks behind Saba. How are you doing?
Very good. Excited for tonight.
So is tonight the world premiere?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, so no pressure.
Well, no, we are very confident with our movie. So
So like we've been
Whatever
working on the
happens.
film for quite a bit. So like, you know, it started and that we started the journey in 2021. So yeah, like we feel like we made a good film.
Oh, no, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have a fantastic night.
You have seen the film?
I have seen the film.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
So we can talk. Well, the problem is we're about to talk about it, but we can't really talk about so many specifics,
Right.
Because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But everyone watching this, maybe one person will have seen it. So how have you been describing the film to friends and family?
So the best way to tell about the film is if I tell you how I came up with it. So my wife and writing partner, Trilora, and her mother were in a near-fatal car accident almost 25 years ago in Bangladesh. Ever since then, my mother-in-law has been a paraplegic, and she depended on my wife and her father to take care of her on a daily basis. So after the death of my father-in-law, I saw my wife like really struggling to take care of her mother, even though she had access to money, family, resources. So that's when Trilora and I started thinking, what if we tell a story of a young woman, named Saba, who lives in lower middle class Bangladesh without any help, without any money, and she has to take care of her paraplegic mother by herself, right? What would Saba do in a situation like this to make sure that her mother lives at any cost? So that's the film, and it's called Saba.
One of the things that I found so well done about the film is that it has no Hollywood gloss. There's a very realistic portrayal, and it's not glamorized at all. And putting that on screen is tricky because you don't want to have any false notes. So can you sort of, the three of you, talk about how you got ready to make the film to make sure it felt as authentic as possible when you were filming?
So yeah, I'll start off. So for me, that was very important that like it felt authentic and everything felt emotionally truthful. So we had a extensive period of rehearsal with our actors. Mehazabien Chowdhury and I rehearsed for almost 6 months. So did Monwar. And we did a lot of improvisations. We spoke about the characters and we constantly asked ourselves what would feel emotionally truthful. Because for me as a writer-director, it's very important that like there is an emotional experience that feels very authentic and very honest to the audience members. So that's where I came from. That was our goal from the very beginning. And now my actors, my very talented cast can
As
elaborate
Maksud
on.
said, we had quite a few sessions, discussions and rehearsals, and we are constantly exploring our characters, and yeah, and there's no fixed thing about our characters and the script. He always encourages us to explore and improvise, and he helped us to explore the true tonality of the characters. So it should be really convincing and believable.
Well, I think they have said everything. I have nothing to say, but as an actor, I always try grabbing characters that I haven't played or portrayed before. So for me, Saba was something very fresh. I've never done a role where I play a caregiver. So I think when I do something that is new, it actually like shows on screen, and the amount of rehearsal, the amount of hard work we have put into it, I think that is what actually shows right now on screen. And apart from that, like Maksud's mother-in-law, so it's kind of based on her life and our co-writer's life. So we had conversations with them to know what they actually had been going through, and we sort of put that in a story and wanted to do things in a spontaneous kind of way so that nothing feels very much scripted. And I think that what makes the whole story very raw and fresh.
I have to ask you, you're fantastic in the movie, and I can only imagine when you read the script and you see everything you're going to be doing, it's such a juicy role to get behind.
It is.
And so talk a little bit about once you were presented with the script, were you just like, yeah, I'm taking this role. This is for me.
Well, it was sort of like that. Like, I've been working as an actor from a very young age. So it was almost 12 years that I've acted in different kind of dramas, and I didn't actually like choose a movie role before this. So I was actually waiting for something that has that kind of a weight, that kind of a role that where I will actually be able to portray myself in a very different way, in a way that people haven't seen me before. And at the end of the movie, the audience will say that, yeah, that's Mehazabien, and we haven't seen her in that kind of a character before. So when Maksud came to me with the script, I was listening to what he was feeling about it, and I found that he was very confident, and that is the story that he wants to say, you know, and his confidence actually reflected on me as well. And for me, Saba is the kind of girl who has so much courage, and in real life, I don't know if I should say that on screen, in real life I'm not that courageous, but I wanted to do that on screen. So I think that was the first kick that actually kicked me off to choose this role. And apart from that, you know, when I heard who all like the other actors that are gonna be with me, my co-actors, they were great. You know, he's been to places before, so I think I felt that this is the movie that I want to do, because this actually is the whole package.
Oh, completely. If I'm not mistaken, this is your first feature. You've directed a ton of short films.
You're correct.
And so what was it? How much did you debate like what you wanted to be your first feature? Was it in your head a little bit like, do I want to make this kind of movie? Do I want to make this kind of movie?
So I'm like, when Saba started back in 2021, I wrote the first draft. Before that, I've been making short films for 21 years. So yes, I was in my head. I wasn't sure what I wanted my first feature to look like, right? Like, as you can get, like as it gets a little late in your career. But like once I had the first draft of Saba, I just instantly knew that this is the film. This is the first film I want my first film to be. And at the very beginning, before I talked to all of the actors, there weren't a lot of people who were very excited about this film, right? But I knew in my heart that the vision that I had, if I could make the film that I wanted to make, I'll be proud of it, and it'll connect with an audience. The audience will emotionally respond to it, and I was right.
Well, the thing about a movie like this, in my opinion, is that it's a universal. It might be being told in Bangladesh, but it's a universal story. Everybody deals with a family member who needs extra. Like, we all are going to deal with it, and so it's a universal story that just happens to be being told in Bangladesh.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I always wanted to, like, the reason that I moved to Bangladesh back in 2009, I was in the States for 10 years, was I wanted to make personal films about my culture, the people that I knew best, which are people from Bangladesh, because I am a Bangladeshi and my parents are Bangladeshi. So what I believe, like, even during the rehearsal, is like, the more specific you get, the more universal you become, right? I stole that from one of my heroes, like, I forget which filmmaker, but and I think that's very, very true, you know, for any form of art. And with even like with Saba, people would keep telling me that this is too specific to your culture and they wouldn't understand it. There's certain things, but I'm like, no, like, I want it to be extremely specific so that it becomes, you know, people relate to the human emotion of.
So you guys film a lot on location in the movie, and I've never been to Bangladesh. I don't know how movies are made there. Was it like, did people care, or was it chaos on the streets?
Well, we did try to control the audience or the crowd a lot, but we also wanted to keep the film as raw and as authentic as possible. So we did have backgrounds where people were non-actors. So I think that worked for the movie, because with the budget that we had, we couldn't actually afford to have like at least 500 people in the background. But yeah, I think the most funny thing is me being a known face in Bangladesh, it is very hard to control the crowd. Even with him,
She got a huge fan following in Bangladesh.
She has
So
over
it's
5
very-
million followers.
So it's very difficult to shoot with her.
They're throwing you under the bus.
and no, it's nothing like that. But like I said earlier, that I wanted to do characters that I haven't done before. And when we were discussing Saba, I wanted her to look very different from what I actually look in real life. So we were experimenting like what the hair should be, what she should be wearing, and she should look like a very regular girl. So that's what we did with the look, and we did shoot in places where there were people, but they couldn't recognize me. So that was something that we were able to pull off as a team, and we are very proud of it.
Because again, I do not know, I apologize, I do not know how famous you are in Bangladesh, but was it refreshing to be able to walk through crowds and have no one care?
I don't know, like me being
cared.
well, yeah, we did take a lot of retakes because people were staring at us or at the camera.
Sure.
Because someone with a boom, you don't usually see that in the crowd or in a road, but we actually were able to pull it off. And I think sorry, I lost the question that
It's
you
okay.
said.
I'm going to ask a different question, and this is for all three of you. I ask this of everyone in almost all my interviews. So you see the shooting schedule in front of you. You know what's coming up. What day do you have circled in terms of, I can't wait to film this? And what day is circled in terms of, how the F are we going to film this?
When I guess for me, if it is a early morning shoot, I would be like, oh God, this is going to be a very difficult day. But I think we had it sorted out in a very, very good way. And we didn't overshoot anything. We were very specific about what we were going to shoot and did a lot of retakes. I think the planning itself was very well done by
Yeah,
Maksud.
the whole team was very organized.
Yeah,
So
and I think because the story is so personal, everyone were emotionally involved in the movie. So everyone was like, yeah, we have to finish this on time. And we have to we cannot go overboard with the budget. Everyone was very much into it. You were saying something.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Was there a certain day of the shoot that you were looking forward to?
For me, every day is exciting. Actually, yeah. Every day is a challenge for me. So I found it equally exciting.
Well, I think for me, I would say the pre-climax scene where we lose one of our characters. I won't say the name.
Sure.
That would be a spoiler. But I think that was nerve-wracking for me because we were actually planning to have take it in a single shot. I think that was very nerve-wracking because with so much going on and the emotional peak of that sequence of that particular moment was so important. I think everything relied on that particular scene because the journey of Saba actually comes and ends there. So I think that was the day I was very nervous.
It's yes, I know. I don't want to say why. I'll just say I understand why you would feel that way.
Yeah.
And
For me, the most exciting day was the first day of shooting, because I've been waiting so long to make a feature film, and I couldn't believe it. The night before, that I'm finally here. I was like in a boy in a candy store kind of a thing. So that was very exciting for me for sure. And everyone gelled, as Mehazabien and Monwar was stating, that the team was really on it. Everyone wanted to do their best, and everyone did. So we're eternally grateful to all our team members. And for me also, that scene was very challenging because I don't know, it's gonna be more spoilers. So let's not get into that.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
No.
So let's not get into it. But that was a very challenging scene for everyone, and we were very emotionally taken by when we were working on that scene. It was very tough for us, for all of us. The entire crew was, wrecked, and actors, me,
Because it's also a universal story that everyone can relate to.
Yes. Also, like, you know, the personal connection and everything. So, yeah.
So I love talking about editing with directors because it's ultimately where it all comes together. So you get in the editing room. How, after showing the film to friends and family, like how did the film change in ways you didn't expect?
So what happened was, like, we started editing. We did a 3-hour cut, right?
Was it like an assembly cut or like a cut that you were like, oh, this is pretty good?
No, it was an assembly cut, and I edited myself. I did a lot of editing myself, even though my credit is not there because there are too many credits with my name. But but I knew that there was something going on. You know, I felt quite confident. A lot of filmmakers say they don't like their assembly cuts. This wasn't the case with this film. I didn't like it. I knew it wasn't there yet, but I could see that there are pieces that needed, you know, some polishing, you know, needed to be rethought. So we slowly were getting rid of the fat, you know, the things that we didn't need. So once we were down to, like, say, roughly 110 minutes, I started showing it to people and people started getting excited. So then I felt like we needed an editor with much more experience. So then I went to Nitin Baid, who is the supervising editor on the film. He has worked on as an editor on films like Masan in Cannes Film Festival. He knows what he's doing, and he's one of the top editors in working in India today with all the big films. So he watched the film and he gave us notes that were very helpful. So we reduced it down to, now the running time is 95 minutes with the titles. The titles itself are 4.5 minutes front and back. So it's like around 90.5 minutes, I think, which is a good length for this film. I debated, I tried taking out 1 or 2 more minutes, but I feel there's a sweet spot, you know, in the edit where you take out 30 more seconds and the film somehow doesn't work. And I felt that 90.5 was that sweet spot for us.
Yeah, this is why I talk about editing all the time, because people don't realize 1 minute either way or one scene either way can make or break a character.
Difference. It's a huge difference. You know what? Sometimes, like, I'm gonna go a little bit geeky now. So sometimes even a couple of frames in a shot makes it, because you don't. It's all about rhythm. Film, like, you know, people talk about movies and film like in all sorts of terms, but the only art form that can be compared to movies, like, directly, I think, is music. It's all about rhythms. So when they were acting, I was looking for rhythm, you know, from them. So sometimes I would have my eyes shut because I was just listening to it. Because are they hitting the right, you know, it doesn't have to be my rhythm, it can be their rhythm, but do I have something going there, you know? And with editing as well, like, it's all about, like, the rhythm, you know, and a couple of frames here and there, it can, you know, you can be off rhythm.
Also, you two have you work together. There's like a relationship between your two characters. And the fact is, if you lose certain scenes or add certain scenes, it changes the complete dynamic on your relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
we took out a couple of scenes. We shot a few more scenes. We had a few more scenes. I don't think any of your scenes got canned because I love him on camera so much. You know,
you don't love me.
You're in the entire film. That's a flawed argument.
She's in every scene of the
She's
film.
in every scene. That's how it was designed, though. Like, we designed it.
If the title Saba and you're playing Saba, you're probably in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. Like, I'm smart enough to know these things. So we're almost out of time, but I have to ask you about being in the Toronto Film Festival. When did you find out you were in it? And are you sort of like, did you think you were going to get into a festival like this? Or were you sort of just like, oh my God, we're going to Toronto?
I can start. So I'll give you the director answer and they can give you the actor answer. So, like, no, it was completely, oh my God, you know, it's one of the biggest festivals. It's like the big 5, you know, like, and when we were making this small film, Saba, in Bangladesh, who would have thought? You know, you dream of things, you know, we would love to have come to TIFF when we were shooting it, but it's a distant dream, you know, it's a dream. But when you finally get that email from Robin Citizen, saying that she loves the film and she wrote this, like, couple of paragraphs on the film, talking about the film, very specific things, talking about the relationship between Saba and Ankur, and that like shows like what she was talking about shows that like she thought about the film and she took the time to write this beautiful email. That's like, yeah, that's amazing. So like we found out early June, late May, early June that we were in.
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah.
June 18th, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That shows my excitement.
someone was very, very happy.
Exactly. Go ahead.
So my feelings, last year I acted in 4 films. So I was desperately waiting for some good news from any one of the film actually. And it makes me feel so good that we got selected in the TIFF. So it's really good news for me. I was desperately waiting for some good news actually about my films.
Yeah. I mean, this is great news.
Yeah.
Well, for me, as you know, I still remember the date when we got the email. So that shows my excitement. But yeah, this was my first film and I wanted it to be international. And I think TIFF is the platform. I think this is the biggest platform that I've ever been to. So it's a big achievement for the Bangladeshi cinema industry as well. Yeah. And I'm very proud that we are here competing with cinemas from all over the world. And we have made a film that actually people can relate to, even not just now, even 50 or 100 years from now, because the core of the movie is based on a very sensitive emotion of letting go. So I think we did do justice, and TIFF was very generous, I would say, to
For sure.
let us come with the movie and then show it to the world. And I think Bangladeshi cinema is starting to evolve. One of our movie had been to Cannes recently. So I think this is the moment where we take our culture and our movies to the world. I think this is just the beginning.
I hope you're right, because that would be fantastic. My last question. Obviously, you must have enjoyed this process of making your first film. Are you working on other screenplays now?
Yeah, like Mehazabien keeps telling me that I enjoy the process too much because I take so long. But yeah, I'm working on a screenplay. My next screenplay is based in the US. I'm trying to work in something in English. So yeah, that's all I can tell you for now. But
I will not pressure you. I will just say, in all sincerity, congrats on the movie. I know you're going to have a fantastic night, and thank you so much for coming by our studio.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.